Good morning, here we go with the Thursday morning stretch workout. An added element I'm going to go through today is using bands for workouts and for some stretches. Bands are great. They obviously came into their own last year with working out at home. Now, I'm a big proponent, user of bands like this because they're great for doing workouts at home, and also they're great for adding to certain exercises, even at the gym, around machines and things like that, to increase the resistance profile of the exercise, to actually make it better in terms of how much resistance you've got at the point where you need the most contraction or tension. So we're going to utilise some of that today, and over the next week or so I'll add some banded videos onto YouTube, into the group as well, to show other uses for these bands within the gym. I know quite a few people got some because I was encouraging that, and they are very versatile and an easy way to add to exercises to make them harder. As the movement actually gets easier, you increase the tension, but also that means you can either lower or keep the weight the same and increase, you can progress the exercise without adding loads and adding lots more weight, which then has more implications in terms of loading the joints and things like that. But we can really work the muscles harder if we use the bands. So the first thing I recommend with the band is the warm up. So taking a fairly light band, it can be a physio band as well. I use this lots and lots with all my groups, Superset, things like that. And often with my clients, most people have got a band like this. You start off with the 4 stretches. So across first, remember these are stretches, and not supposed to be super hard, although you can particularly take this exercise up in resistance and turn it into a band pull apart. This is a pull apart, around about 10 or 12 of each movement. So this is a great warm up for any workout, particularly when you're going to be loading up the joints, the upper body with resistance at the gym. Okay, taking this round up and over, where the loop is a bit of a disadvantage because it kind of gets in the way. And we're going the overhead pull apart. So we're starting high, arms completely straight, and opening up at the back, and also stretching a little bit of the chest and the front of the shoulders, the front deltoids, which take a lot of work when we do upper body work, upper body training, and also working to the upper back. I'm going to bring this back over to the front, arms out again. I'm going to cross this over, alternate, cross over, pull apart. About 12 in total, and then last one. This is like a low pull apart, often called the no money, because it's like turning your pockets out to show you haven't got any change left. You'll understand this concept if you've got kids that want a bit of money for this and a bit of money for that. I've got nothing left, so you're turning your pockets out. Not a very big movement, just opening up. The rotator cuffs really were helping the shoulders. These are actually really good exercises for rehab as well, in terms of shoulder joints get a lot of work, they get creaky, they get cranky, and doing this every day as a little mini workout, maybe while the kettle's boiling, that's really, really good rehabilitation for looking after the shoulder joints. Then, if we're going into a workout, which we're going to do some exercises, I would just recommend then into a couple of sets of 10 squats with a stretch at the bottom. So when we get to the 10th one, just drop in and a little stretch down. A couple of sets. And then I'd also recommend, particularly if you go into a lower body workout, going into some glute bridges. So, wherever you're warming up, just drop into some glute bridges as well. And we're saving for that little squeeze into the glutes each time, getting them warmed up. Then from here, this is where we can start to add the resistance to some exercises you might want to do at home or at the gym. Now, some of these variations are useful at the gym if the particular piece of equipment is busy, or adding it in as a drop set after doing something else. I'll talk through that as we go through. So, banded glute bridges. You might put a knee band on as well if you've got one. So you have a band here, so we end up with a double banded glute bridges now. So we're making a loop, we're pulling this up as high as we can, as though it's in the position that the bar might be, or the belt might be on the glute drive machine. We're going to keep that in position. We might need to hold it, and if it's particularly digging in, you might put a towel over first and then pop this on top. Then, just making sure that stays there. Just usually hold it at the side a little bit if you need to. We're then going to work against that resistance. Well, the resistance is quite light, up to 15. Then, if you've got a stronger band, most people are quite strong in the lower body, you'd be able to go up again. You can get really, really strong bands. I've got another couple of levels up from this. This one actually then, we need to really kind of work a little bit hard to get the band up and over. And now we're going to have a good amount of resistance for working at home or in the gym. If the glute drive's not free, there's nowhere to do any hip thrusts, or the setup takes a little while. Pop the bands on. Here we go. Recommend you doing a total of 3 sets, or a warm-up set and 3 sets with your heavier resistance band. That might mean you also go up again. You know, the next colour up in my bands is purple. That might mean going up to that as well. Okay, so next little superset or set we can do. Actually, do this as a tricep. We're going to go for upper body moves. So I'm just going to put one foot inside. And this is called a Y raise. It's actually like a slightly to the front and out lateral raise. So this builds up quite quick. So we're going to do it for 10 reps, and then we're going to switch to another position and carry on with the shoulder work. So we lift it up and out. If that feels too tight, move your hands in, a little bit less band inside, up and out. So we're coming slightly higher and wider than a lateral raise. Because we're using a band, it actually work more into the upper back. So just up and out, really wide shape. 10 all together. Then we're just going to switch your hands around, maybe even take a little step through. So we've made a really big triangle, and then we're going to press straight up. See, the hands are still coming out into a shoulder press. And as we like supersets, working opposite pairs. Let's put this band underneath our feet now. Hold it in a comfortable position, hips back, and we're going to row there. Turn again. Let the elbows come back. Now you might want to increase the resistance. Now that can mean moving the hands out. Equally, you might need to drop the resistance. That means moving the hands in a little bit. That can also mean swapping between the bands. So let's go around the second set, adding a little bit more resistance. So this time I'm going to stand in, both feet inside the band, which immediately is going to take more band away from what I can stretch up. Too wide, I won't be able to do the exercise. And then get that nice hand position, up and out. So one foot's going to be easier, 2 feet, adding more resistance. This time, I'll switch that around. Okay, so I've got both feet in already. Put my feet a little bit wider, but make sure there's more band in between. I'm going to get more resistance. So we get nice equal resistance on each side. There we go. Sometimes quite a bizarre sensation in that the muscles feel like they're working in a different way. It's not like you can't do it anymore, but you're really burning with lactic acid and build up in the muscles. So rows this time, stronger position than pressing. I'm just going to switch up to the stronger band for the second time round. Something great happens with rows with the band. You really feel like you need to pull at the top, hold, which that's also going to increase the tension. Resistance training, all about mechanical tension, which is the force generated by the muscles in a contracted position. There we go. So 3 sets of your harder positions. So that might mean you do a warm-up set like we've just done, slightly lighter band, then you might just carry on 2 more sets. Or if you're bringing in heavier band, we're changing the technique, another 3 sets with your harder technique. Okay, taking it down to the floor. I'm going to go straight in on the heavier band this time, because that's more appropriate for my strength, but this works with whatever band you're using. So we are going to aim to have the band across the back, but coming round over the kind of bottom of the shoulders and partly over the triceps. Then we're going to go down to our floor press position that we've used for a dumbbell press, and do that same movement, elbows up and coming in. We can bring the hands right in, which is really good because the chest muscles work as they cross over. 12 of these. Equally, I could do this exercise with dumbbells in hand. If you're at the gym and you've got help to be able to set it up, you can put this around a bench and then press the dumbbells. Opposite way, a different row. Seated row, depending on how long and strong your band is, it's how straight you're going to put your legs, because that's going to be a deciding factor. The row straight back, elbows back, keep it nice and low. Turn again, like the seated cable row. There's that one. Just as a little bonus, if you're strong and good at press-ups, you can use a band to do the press-ups as well. You're going to get the same sort of effect as the floor press with the band. So going lighter, because we're now going to press ourselves up as well. We'll put that band round, get in position, watch for the band slip in, keep your elbows down, and it adds resistance. of the press up. Just like that. You could do that one on your knees as well, but you're probably better off for stability and being able to do a nice number of reps. So between 10 and 12 of going back round with your band behind. So really actually in a hard superset, you did press ups first and then came to the banded floor press. Remember, we want the hands to come together on a press. Push them in. Really nice. Then up and round. And just a little other technique we can do. Those of you that had training sessions with me, personal training, might remember the whole technique. So we pull them both up, and we do one side. While the other side is full of tension. This is 5. Hold again, opposite side. Keeping this static hand locked in. Building that tension up. That's 5, one more side. And down. Really good. Okay, one more superset that we can do. So we're going to set up a little bit like a bent over row. I'm not going to go too heavy, and we're going to stand all the way up this time. From this front position, we're then going to drop in, look where the elbows are. It's reminding me of a tricep kickback, and then we can stretch back against that resistance. So as I always say, nice and slow, and the bands make us work nice and slow. Good tension at the end. Let's go for 12. You can use this technique with just one foot at the front or the back, and that's going to give a little bit more tension to the, take some tension out of the band. Then one foot again, we can switch this round to some curls. So quite a strong resistance profile, and it might mean that, as I'm saying, do 10 to 12, you can't quite do that many reps. That's absolutely fine. Do the reps that you can, because it's all about the work the muscles do, not hitting a certain number. There's no magic numbers really for working muscles, it's the work that they do. So powerlifters get really strong by just doing 1, 2, 3, sometimes a few more, but only really up to 5 repetitions. That's getting them stronger, but they're using heavy weights up to a maximum weight for the different movements that they do. We're not using that so much because we're generally aiming for different goals than just pure strength. But the principle is the same of hitting, working the muscles to towards what's called failure. So if we were looking at out of 10 relative perceived exertion, or RPE, at some point in a workout or across a week, we need to take a muscle group up into that 8, 9, 10 category to really work it hard. And that's what's going to stimulate change and improvement and progression for you. So once more round, the tricep kickback and the curls. So if you see, just lighten up the load on the kickbacks, pull up to the same position, I'm still kicking back. This is great because it makes this hold at the end. I always find with bands, it makes you really squeeze at that point of tension. It's like a natural inbuilt thing to push against that resistance. And then coming around to curls, still just standing in one. Band curls are actually pretty hard work. You can just do it with a single band. So that's 6 like that. If you're doing it with a single band, you're probably going to have quite a lot of the band underneath your feet. Maybe pull a little loop up and then create a little loop there. I'm still holding with a single band. Just adjusting the tension so it works well for you. So there we go. 7 variations you can do at home with bands, and over the next week or so I'll show some variations like this using the gym. So if you've got the bands, maybe you got them last year for working out at home, they're not null and void. At the very least, you 100% want to be doing the band warm up and then adding some more techniques to improve the tension profile of some other exercises that you'll be doing at the gym with your workouts, just to make them better. As always, any help or support I can give you with training, programming, nutrition, keeping on track, please give me a shout in the usual way and I will be more than happy to help. See you soon.